I begin my story in a warmer climate. We are in Brazil, which would be very nice to be in right now because it is summer there. So, think, the beautiful beaches. We have mountains on the teal water, similar color to Will's shirt. There's music everywhere. People are smiling. This is Brazil. This is the place where people dream of going. I ended up there because I was dating a Brazilian in high school, and my parents used that as an excuse for us to travel to Brazil. So the family packs up. We go to Brazil for a month and travel around, spend time there, and I love it. I love everything about this place. The culture, the people, the food. They have this thing called a pão de queijo, which is this cheesy bread. And if you've ever been to Fogo de Chão, you've eaten it. It is absolutely one of the best things. So take that into account. You're in this beautiful climate. There's music everywhere. People are lively and energetic, and I love this place. All I want to do is move to Brazil. Fast forward, I go to college. I go to college in D.C. at a school called George Washington University. I study international affairs. And all I think about is how to get back to Brazil. That is my mission. So in 2008, everything aligns. I get my visa, I'm ready to go, and I move to Brazil. Now, anyone who has lived in a country versus visited a country realizes there is a huge difference. Number one, language. So I will tell a little story of something I experienced. Medicine. You go to the store, you have your prescription, you pick it up, no problem. In Brazil, you can just walk into a pharmacy and grab your medicine. But when you're trying to describe what you need and you don't speak the language, things can get a little awkward. So things like, I'm taking this pill because I don't want to have a baby. How do you say that? And they're looking at you, and then they bring on another person, and they're like, I don't know what you're saying, and I'm struggling. I'm like, I need this, help me, What can I do? So that was one fun thing. Another thing I discovered is the way Brazilians travel. So I walked everywhere, because if you get on a bus and you're in the wrong part of São Paulo, which is where I was living, God bless you. You don't know where you're going to end up. You're going to be an hour away. Who knows what happens? So I walked everywhere, which, would be interesting when it would be 100 degrees and then a rainstorm would come down and I'd show up to class just drenched and they'd say, oh, what a gringa, you gringa, which is, basically a white person. So the love affair of Brazil started to trickle away. Living there, again, is not like a vacation. However, it's an amazing place, and I do not discredit that country at all. What I did see, and where my story starts, is something that we all see now. In Brazil, they have a culture of machismo, which is nothing foreign. We all know Latins sometimes have this reputation. But in Brazil, I noticed a lot of divorce. So women, at the age of about 40, were usually single and divorced. And men had moved on to someone younger, prettier, more ready for their lifestyle. Now, I do not discredit anyone, because if that's the culture and you have the opportunity to do that, I do not fault you. Why not? But I noticed that throughout the state, and everyone I encountered, this is very common. So this idea sort of percolated with me. What can you do to start over? How can you start over? When your whole life was just built around being married. And for many of these women, it was. That's all they did. They were married. And that was their life. So the idea sort of percolated with me. Where can I take this? What can I do? How can I help them? How can I show that there's more to life than being with someone? That's it. So I moved back to the States, thankfully. I lived in D.C. for a few extra years. I moved to Minnesota, and I realized that here and across the country, divorce and people moving on after 20 years of marriage is not that uncommon. In fact, in the States, it's more common to have a blended family or a single parent family than it is to actually have a nuclear family where everyone lives together. So that is what our society has become. So the idea still percolated with me, is it's not just women, it's not just men. Everyone of all walks of life face this. Where can they move on to after divorce, or after a big breakup, or after some traumatic event that you need to separate yourself? So the idea continued to percolate. I moved into IT staffing, which is, in my words, like matchmaking. You know, client wants this, candidate wants this. You kind of have to bargain on both ends, say this is what you're going to get, and this is how the marriage will be happy. The idea continued to percolate, how can I do this? So I moved into starting a dating website. But there are hundreds of dating websites of every variety. So let's switch this into something that's a little more personal. And out comes mutual friends matchmaking, which is something I am working on. Starting from 2008, when I moved to Brazil and saw the need, trickling into moving here to Minnesota where I can still see it, and here I am, speaking to you to talk about this idea that is prevalent in all of our lives. We know people who are single, who don't know what to do, where to go, how to meet people. Do I go to a bar? I don't want to go to a bar. How can you meet people? And that is where I'm in. Thank you.